The knife came out of nowhere, flashing silver in the dim restaurant light, and she didn't think. She just moved. Amanda threw herself between Ryu Seong-min and the attacker's blade, her body colliding with his as chaos erupted around them. Time fractured. Seong-min caught her against his chest, spinning them both behind a column as his guards swarmed the threat. For the first time in 6 months of cold, distant marriage, she felt his heart hammering against hers. In that impossible moment, something awakened inside him, something fierce and possessive and utterly terrifying. Welcome to Afro-Korean romance, where love has no borders. If you believe in love, please like, share, and subscribe for more Afro-Korean romance stories. Amanda had perfected the art of being invisible. 6 months of marriage to Ryu Seong-min had taught her that much. She sat at the long mahogany table in his family's private restaurant, surrounded by his parents, siblings, and high-ranking organization members, feeling like a beautiful statue no one remembered commissioning. The lunch was supposedly in honor of his father's birthday, but Amanda suspected it was another test, one she was designed to fail. "Pass the kimchi," Seong-min's sister said in Korean, not even glancing her direction. Amanda reached for the dish, only to have someone else grab it first. The conversation continued around her in rapid-fire Korean, peppered with inside jokes and references to people she'd never met. No one translated. No one slowed down. Seong-min sat 3 seats away, discussing business with his father and his right-hand man. He'd barely acknowledged her since they'd arrived, offering only a curt nod when she'd greeted his parents. This was her life now, existing in the margins of his world. "Does she even speak Korean?" his mother asked, not to Amanda, but to Seong-min's brother, as if she weren't sitting right there. "Some," his brother replied, sounding bored. "Pity. How will she raise proper Korean children if she can't even communicate?" Amanda's fork paused halfway to her mouth. She set it down carefully, her appetite vanishing. Around the table, several people smirked. Seong-min didn't even look up from his conversation. She excused herself quietly in Korean, her accent perfect, her grammar flawless, and watched with cold satisfaction as his mother's face went pale. Let them wonder what else she understood. Amanda found refuge in the restaurant's koi pond courtyard, where paper lanterns swayed in the October breeze. She wrapped her arms around herself, fighting back tears she refused to shed in this place. She'd been so stupid, falling for Seong-min's rare smiles during their whirlwind courtship, believing his intensity meant devotion, thinking that marrying him meant she'd finally have the family she'd always dreamed of. Instead, she'd become a ghost in his house, a name on legal documents, a wife in title only. "You shouldn't be out here alone." Amanda turned to find Seong-min's cousin, Tae-hyun, approaching with 2 champagne flutes. He was handsome in that polished way that came with old money, tailored suit, perfect hair, charming smile. "Neither should you," she replied, accepting the glass he offered. "Won't people talk?" "Let them." Tae-hyun leaned against the railing beside her. "You handled my aunt beautifully back there. I've never seen her speechless." "I doubt it'll improve my standing." "You don't need to impress them, Amanda. You're already family." She laughed bitterly. "Am I, because your cousin seems to have forgotten I exist?" Tae-hyun's expression softened. "Seong-min is complicated, the organization demands." "Everything," Amanda finished. "I know, I just didn't realize that included having an actual marriage." She drained her champagne, unaware that Seong-min had stepped into the courtyard entrance. His dark eyes locked on Tae-hyun's hand, resting casually near hers on the railing. The drive home was silent and suffocating. Seong-min's jaw was tight, his knuckles white on the steering wheel. Amanda stared out the window, watching Seoul's lights blur past, wondering what had changed. He'd barely spoken to her in weeks, but now anger radiated from him in waves. "Tae-hyun is engaged," he said suddenly, his voice low and dangerous. Amanda blinked. "I know, he mentioned it." "Did he?" Not a question. Seong-min's accent thickened when he was angry. She'd learned that much about her stranger husband. "And what else did he mention?" That your family thinks I'm inadequate. She turned to face him. That I can't speak Korean. That I'll ruin your bloodline with my foreign genes, should I go on. His knuckles went whiter. You ignored me for 6 months, Amanda continued, something breaking loose inside her. You bring me to family events like I'm a prop. You never defend me. You barely look at me. But suddenly you care that your cousin was kind to me. Kind, the word was almost a snarl. Is that what you call it? What would you call it? Because from where I'm sitting, T. Hyun is the only person in your entire family who's treated me like a human being. Seong-min's hand slammed against the steering wheel, making her jump. The car swerved slightly before he corrected it, pulling over to the side of the road with enough force that her seatbelt locked. He turned to her, and Amanda's breath caught. She'd never seen this expression on his face, something wild and barely contained, his dark eyes burning with an intensity that made her skin flush. You are my wife, he said, his voice dangerously soft. Mine, do you understand? Funny, her voice shook. I haven't felt like anyone's wife. I felt like an inconvenience you're too polite to divorce. Something flickered across his face, pain, maybe, or regret, but it was gone too quickly to name. You don't understand, he said finally. Then explain it to me. Use your words, Seong-min. Pretend I'm worth the effort. The silence stretched between them, heavy with 6 months of loneliness and longing and words unsaid. Then Seong-min's phone buzzed, shattering the moment. He answered it in rapid Korean, his expression going cold and professional. Business, always business. Amanda turned back to the window, blinking away tears. She'd got her answer after all. That night, Amanda lay awake in their massive bed, her side warm, his side empty. Again. She'd heard him come home around 2 a.m., heard him pause outside their bedroom door. For a moment, she'd thought he might come in. Instead, his footsteps had continued down the hall to his office. By morning, he was gone. A week passed, then 2. The pattern continued, Seong-min leaving before dawn, returning after midnight, existing in the same house but never the same room. His mother called twice, suggesting Amanda take Korean culture classes and cooking lessons. His sister sent her articles about proper Mafia wives, all written in Korean she was apparently too ignorant to read. Amanda smiled through it all, perfected her Korean in secret, and planned her escape. She'd give it 1 more month. If nothing changed, she'd ask for a divorce. She had too much pride to spend her life begging for scraps of attention from a man who'd lost interest the moment the chase ended. 3 weeks later, Amanda attended a charity gala alone. Seong-min had been invited as a major donor, but he'd sent her in his place with his credit card and a terse text, "Represent the family well." She'd almost laughed, represent the family that pretended she didn't exist. But she'd gone anyway, wearing a stunning emerald gown that hugged her curves and turned heads the moment she entered. If this was her last month as Mrs. Ryu, she'd make it memorable. "Amanda Ryu," a smooth voice said behind her, "you look absolutely devastating tonight." She turned to find Park Jae-hoon, a rival organization leader she'd met briefly at her wedding. He was attractive in a dangerous way, sharp suit, sharper smile, eyes that saw too much. "Mr. Park," she said carefully, "I didn't expect to see you here." "Business makes strange bedfellows," he offered his arm. "Your husband couldn't make it." "He's busy." "He's a fool." Jae-hoon's eyes swept over her appreciatively. "If you were mine, I'd never let you out of my sight." Amanda knew she should walk away, should make an excuse and find safety in the crowd. But 6 months of neglect had left her starving for attention, and Jae-hoon's interest, however calculated, felt like water in a desert. "Would you like to dance?" she asked, taking his arm. His smile widened. "I thought you'd never ask." They danced 3 times. Jae-hoon was charming, attentive, and made her laugh in a way she'd almost forgotten. He asked about her life, her interests, treated her like a woman instead of an inconvenient accessory. "Your husband is an idiot," he said during their 3rd dance, his hand warm on her waist. "You've mentioned that." "I'm serious, Amanda. A woman like you should be worshipped. Cherished, his eyes locked with hers, not left alone at galas while he plays emperor. She knew this was dangerous. Knew Jae-hoon was Seong-min's rival. Knew this was probably a calculated move in whatever game these men played. But God, it felt good to be seen. If circumstances were different, Jae-hoon began. They're not, Amanda said gently, stepping back. I should go, thank you for the dances. Amanda, he caught her hand. If you ever need anything at all, call me. He pressed a business card into her palm, his thumb brushing her wrist in a touch that lingered too long. Amanda tucked the card into her clutch and fled to the bathroom, her heart pounding. She stared at her reflection, flushed cheeks, bright eyes, looking more alive than she had in months. What was she doing? She didn't notice the security camera in the hallway. Didn't see the footage being sent in real time to Seong-min's phone. Didn't know that her husband had watched every second of her dancing with Jae-hoon, his expression growing darker with each passing moment. By the time Amanda's driver pulled up to their house, Seong-min was waiting in the foyer, his presence filling the space like an oncoming storm. Did you enjoy your evening? He asked, his voice deceptively calm. Amanda froze, one hand on the door she just closed. The gala was fine. Fine. He moved toward her slowly, a predator stalking prey. You danced with Park Jae-hoon 3 times. Her heart slammed against her ribs. How did you? Did you think I wouldn't know? Seong-min's control was fracturing, rage and something else, something desperate bleeding through. Did you think I wouldn't care? Why would you? The words exploded out of her. You haven't cared about anything I've done for 6 months. You ignore me, you abandon me, you treat me like I'm invisible. Invisible, he laughed, sharp and bitter. You think you're invisible to me. Yes, because you're never there. You never talk to me, never touch me, never. Her voice broke. I'm so lonely, Seong-min, and tonight someone finally looked at me like I mattered. Someone, his jaw clenched. Park Jae-hoon is a snake who destroys everything he touches. Then maybe I'm already destroyed. Tears spilled down her cheeks. Maybe 6 months of this marriage already broke me. Seong-min went utterly still. When he spoke, his voice was raw. You don't understand what you're saying. Then make me understand. She threw her clutch on the side table, Jae-hoon's card fluttering out. Explain why you married me if you plan to ignore me. Explain why I'm good enough to carry your name but not good enough for your time. Explain. He moved so fast she gasped. One moment he was across the foyer, the next he had her pressed against the wall, his hands framing her face, his body caging hers. You want to know why? His breath was hot against her lips, his eyes wild with something that made her pulse race. Because every time I look at you, I lose control. Because you're the only person who's ever made me feel anything other than cold calculation. Because I'm terrified that if I let myself have you, really have you, I won't be able to do what needs to be done. Amanda's hands clutched his suit jacket. What are you talking about? My world is death and violence, Amanda. I kept my distance to protect you from it, from me. His thumb brushed her cheek, catching a tear. But watching you with him tonight, watching him touch what's mine. I'm not yours, she whispered. You never claimed me. Wrong. His forehead pressed against hers, his control shattering completely. You've been mine since the moment I saw you. Every breath, every heartbeat, every beautiful inch of you mine. And I'm done pretending otherwise. Then his mouth was on hers, and Amanda's world exploded into sensation. The kiss was desperate, consuming, 6 months of longing compressed into one perfect moment. His hands tangled in her hair, hers slid under his jacket, and when he lifted her against the wall, she wrapped her legs around his waist without thinking. Seong-min, she gasped against his mouth. Say it again. He kissed down her neck, making her shiver. Say my name. Seong-min. He carried her up the stairs, lips never leaving her skin, kicking open their bedroom door. They fell onto the bed together, and for the first time since their wedding night, Amanda felt truly married. The world narrowed to his touch, his whispered Korean endearments, the way he looked at her like she was something precious and terrifying and utterly necessary. When they finally came together, it felt like coming home. Amanda woke to sunlight streaming through the curtains and an empty bed. Her heart dropped. He'd left. Again. Last night had been another mistake, another moment of weakness he'd regret in the morning. She was pulling on her robe, tears already forming, when the bedroom door opened. Seong-min stood there with a breakfast tray, still wearing his dress pants but shirtless, his hair mussed from her fingers. He looked younger somehow, vulnerable. "You're awake," he said softly. Amanda stared. "You made breakfast." "I had it delivered." He set the tray on the bed, then sat beside her. "But I brought it up myself. Does that count?" She didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "I thought you left." "No." His hand found hers, threading their fingers together. "Never again. I'm sorry, Amanda, for everything. For every day I made you feel invisible when you're the only thing I see." "Then why?" "Because I was a coward." He brought her hand to his lips. "I thought if I kept my distance, my enemies wouldn't know how much you mean to me. But last night, seeing you with Jae-hoon," his jaw clenched, "I realized the only thing worse than putting you in danger is losing you completely." Amanda's tears spilled over. "I don't want to dance with other men. I want to dance with my husband." "Then dance with me." He stood, pulling her into his arms right there in their bedroom, swaying gently. "Every day, for the rest of our lives." She rested her head against his chest, finally feeling like his wife. The next morning, everything changed. Amanda was reading in the sunroom when Seong-min's right-hand man, Kang-di, burst through the door, his face ashen. "Where's Seong-min?" he demanded. "Meeting with his father. What's wrong?" Kang-di's expression told her everything. "Park Jae-hoon knows about you, about last night. He's threatening to." He stopped, choosing his words carefully. "We need to move you somewhere safe." Amanda's blood ran cold. "I'm not going anywhere until someone explains what's happening." "Jae-hoon is using you to get to Seong-min." Kang-di's voice was urgent. "The dances, the attention, it was all calculated. He knew Seong-min was watching. He's threatening to release photos to the press to spin it like you're having an affair. It could destroy everything." "But I didn't." "Truth doesn't matter, perception does." He grabbed her arm. "Please, Mrs. Ryu, we need to go now." The front door exploded inward. Men in black flooded the sunroom, their faces covered, weapons drawn. Amanda screamed as Kang-di shoved her behind him, pulling his own gun. The first shot shattered a window. The second hit Kang-di in the shoulder. He went down hard, blood spreading across his shirt. "Run," he gasped, but rough hands grabbed Amanda before she could move. A cloth pressed over her mouth, sweet chemical, and the world went dark. Amanda woke to the smell of mildew and concrete. Her head throbbed. Her wrists were bound to a metal chair in what looked like an abandoned warehouse. Dim light filtered through broken windows, casting shadows across water-stained walls. "Ah, you're awake." Park Jae-hoon stepped from the shadows, looking nothing like the charming man from the gala. His smile was cold now, calculating. "What do you want?" Amanda's voice came out hoarse. "What I've always wanted, to destroy Ryu Seong-min." Jae-hoon circled her slowly. "And you, my dear, are the perfect weapon." "I won't help you." "You already have." He held up his phone, showing her photos from the gala, her hand in his, their faces close during the dance. "These pictures, combined with your sudden disappearance, will paint a very interesting story. Seong-min's foreign wife, unhappy and neglected, running away with his rival." Amanda's stomach turned. "No one will believe that." "Won't they?" Jae-hoon crouched in front of her. "You've been miserable for months. His entire family knows it. You barely speak to each other in public. And last night, you danced with me 3 times while he wasn't even there." "He'll find me." "I'm counting on it." Jae-hoon's smile widened. "Seong-min will come for you, alone, desperate, irrational. And when he does, I'll be waiting with enough firepower to end the Ryu Empire forever." He stood, brushing imaginary dust from his suit. "Make yourself comfortable, Mrs. Ryu. This might take a while." Seong-min's world had shattered into a single, blinding purpose: find her. He'd returned home to blood in his sunroom, Kang-dee barely conscious, and Amanda gone. The rage that consumed him was so pure, so absolute, that his men took a step back when they saw his face. "Find her," he said, his voice deadly calm. "Burn Seoul to the ground if you have to. Find my wife." His father tried to counsel caution. His mother suggested negotiation. Seong-min ignored them both, transforming from controlled businessman into the monster he'd tried to keep hidden from Amanda. Every contact was called in, every debt collected, every rival questioned with methods that would haunt them for years. It took 8 hours to trace her to Jae-hoon's waterfront warehouse. Seong-min stood outside with 50 armed men, but he felt the cold weight of being utterly alone. If Jae-hoon hurt her, if he touched even a hair on her head, there wouldn't be enough pieces left to identify. "Boss," Kang-dee said, his shoulder bandaged but his gun ready. "We go in together." "No," Seong-min checked his weapon one final time. "He wants me alone, so I go alone." "That's suicide." "Then I die." Seong-min's eyes were empty of everything except purpose. "But not before I get her out." He walked through the warehouse door into darkness. Amanda heard the door open and felt her heart leap and shatter simultaneously. "Seong-min, no," she screamed. "It's a trap." His figure emerged from the shadows, and even bound to a chair, even terrified for his life, Amanda had never seen anything more beautiful. His face was set in lines of absolute determination, his entire being focused on her. "Let her go, Jae-hoon," Seong-min said quietly. Lights blazed on, revealing 24 armed men on the warehouse catwalks above them. Jae-hoon stepped forward, gun in hand, smiling. The mighty Ryu Seong-min, on his knees for a woman. "Name your price." Seong-min's gun stayed holstered, a show of faith that made Amanda's blood run cold. "Territory, money, power, take it, just let her go." "How romantic." Jae-hoon pressed his gun to Amanda's temple, and Seong-min's entire body went rigid. "But I don't want your money. I want your empire, your legacy, your life." "Then take it." Seong-min's hands spread wide. "I'm here, unarmed, alone. Let her walk out first." "Seong-min, don't," Amanda sobbed. "Please don't." His eyes met hers, and she saw everything he'd never said written in his expression. The love, the regret, the absolute devotion. "I love you," he said in English, his accent thick with emotion. "From the first moment, every day, I'm sorry I didn't show you." "How touching," Jae-hoon sneered. "But I think I'll kill her first, let you watch, then kill you slowly." His finger moved to the trigger. Seong-min moved faster. The throwing knife hidden in his sleeve found Jae-hoon's gun hand. The man screamed, weapon clattering away. Seong-min's gun cleared its holster in the same motion, and the warehouse exploded into chaos. His men burst through every entrance, windows, doors, the roof itself. They'd been there all along, hidden, waiting for his signal. The knife had been the signal. Seong-min reached Amanda in 3 strides, cutting her bonds while his body shielded hers. Bullets pinged off metal around them. "Keep your head down," he ordered, then returned fire with lethal precision. The fight lasted less than 5 minutes. Jae-hoon's men were outgunned, outmaneuvered, and facing a Ryu Seong-min who'd lost all control. When the last one fell, Seong-min turned to Jae-hoon, who was crawling toward the exit, leaving a trail of blood. "Please," Jae-hoon gasped. "Mercy." Seong-min's gun never wavered. "You touched my wife. There is no mercy for that." The shot echoed through the warehouse. Then Seong-min was gathering Amanda into his arms, checking her for injuries with shaking hands, his face pressed into her hair. "Are you hurt? Did he touch you? Tell me you're okay." "I'm okay." She was crying, clinging to him just as desperately. "You came for me." "Always." He pulled back to frame her face, his thumbs brushing away tears. "Did you think I wouldn't? Did you think there was any force on earth that could keep me from you? You could have died. Without you, I'm already dead." He kissed her forehead, her cheeks, her lips, soft, reverent kisses that tasted like relief and promises. "You're my heart, Amanda, my entire world. I should have shown you every day." Kangdi approached, clearing his throat awkwardly. "Boss, we need to go. Police are coming." Seong-min lifted Amanda in his arms, carrying her out of that nightmare into the Seoul morning. She wrapped her arms around his neck and let herself believe, finally, that she was safe. That she was loved. That she was his. The aftermath was brutal. Jae-hoon's organization crumbled. Several of Seong-min's rivals disappeared overnight, handled with the kind of efficiency that made even his own men nervous. The message was clear: touch what belongs to Ryu Seong-min and face annihilation. But inside their home, a different transformation was taking place. Seong-min refused to leave Amanda's side. He moved his office into their bedroom, conducted meetings from home, and turned down anything that required him to be gone more than 2 hours. "You'll drive me crazy," Amanda said on the third day, watching him growl at someone over the phone while simultaneously ensuring her tea was the right temperature. "Good," he ended the call and pulled her against his chest. "You drove me crazy for 6 months. Turnabout is fair." "Seong-min," she tilted her head back to see his face. "I know you're scared, but I'm okay, I'm safe." "You're safe because I'm making you safe." His arms tightened. "And that's not changing." She should have found his possessiveness suffocating. Instead, after months of neglect, his constant presence felt like coming up for air after drowning. "I love you," she whispered. He went very still. "Say it again." "I love you, even though you're bossy and overprotective and currently crushing my ribs." He loosened his hold but didn't let go, his face buried in her neck. "I love you too, so much it terrifies me." "Good," she echoed his earlier word. "We can be terrified together." 2 weeks later, Seong-min called a family meeting. His parents, siblings, cousins, everyone who'd made Amanda feel small gathered in the formal dining room. Amanda sat beside Seong-min, his hand firmly clasped around hers. "I have an announcement," Seong-min said, his voice carrying the authority that made grown men tremble. "My wife was recently kidnapped and nearly killed because of this family's business." His mother started to speak. He cut her off with a look. "She was targeted because she appeared vulnerable, isolated, because this family treated her as if she didn't belong." His eyes swept the table, cold and unforgiving. "That ends today." "Seong-min," his father began. "Amanda speaks fluent Korean. She understood every insult, every slight, every cruel comment you thought she couldn't comprehend." Seong-min's grip on her hand tightened. "She is brilliant, strong, and more gracious than any of you deserve, and she is the only reason I'm not burning this entire empire down to keep her safe." The silence was deafening. "From this moment forward, she will be treated with the respect due to the head of this family's wife. Anyone who disrespects her disrespects me." He leaned forward, his expression deadly. "And I think we all know what happens to people who disrespect me." His sister shifted uncomfortably. His mother's face had gone pale. "Do I make myself clear?" Seong-min asked softly. A chorus of yes, boss, echoed around the table. "Good." He stood, pulling Amanda up with him. "We're leaving. Don't call unless Seoul is burning." In the car, Amanda finally let herself laugh. "That was terrifying," she said. "That was necessary." Seong-min brought her hand to his lips. "No one hurts you, not even my family." "Your mother looked like she might faint." "Good, maybe she'll think twice before asking about proper Korean grandchildren again." He paused. "Unless you want children, then we can work on that." Amanda's heart skipped. "Do you want children?" "I want everything with you." His eyes met hers, intense and certain. "Children, decades, boring Tuesdays, exciting Saturdays, all of it. Even though I'm foreign and curvy and don't fit your world." "You don't fit my world because you're better than it." He cupped her face. "You make me want to be better than it too." She kissed him then, soft and sweet, and felt the last piece of her heart that had been broken slot back into place. 3 months later, Seong-min surprised her with a weekend trip. "Where are we going?" Amanda asked as their private plane lifted off. "Somewhere I can have you all to myself." His hand rested possessively on her thigh. "No family, no business, no interruptions." They landed in Jeju Island, where he'd rented an entire private resort. For 3 days, they existed in a bubble of perfect happiness, swimming, eating, making love, and simply being together without the weight of his empire pressing down. On the last evening, they walked along the beach at sunset. Seong-min was quieter than usual, his thumb rubbing circles on her hand. "What's wrong?" Amanda asked. "Nothing's wrong, everything is." He stopped walking, turning to face her. "You saved my life, you know, not in the warehouse before that. I was becoming something cold and empty. You brought me back." "Seong-min." He dropped to one knee. Amanda's hands flew to her mouth as he pulled out a ring, not the simple band he'd given her at their rushed courthouse wedding, but an emerald surrounded by diamonds that caught the sunset fire. "I did this wrong the first time," he said, his voice rough with emotion. "I married you but didn't give you my heart, didn't show you every day how precious you are. Let me do it right this time." "We're already married," she whispered. "Then marry me again, in front of everyone. Let me stand up and tell the world that you're mine and I'm yours and nothing will ever change that." He slipped the ring on her finger. "Marry me, Amanda. Choose me. Keep choosing me." "Yes." She pulled him up, kissing him through happy tears. "Yes, yes, yes." He spun her around, both of them laughing like teenagers, and Amanda had never felt more loved. The second wedding was everything the first wasn't. Seong-min insisted on a massive celebration, traditional Korean ceremony followed by a Western reception, with 500 guests witnessing their vows. His family behaved impeccably, his mother even crying as she welcomed Amanda properly into the family. But the moment Amanda cherished most was private. Before the ceremony, Seong-min found her in the bridal suite, stunning in white silk and lace. His eyes darkened as he took her in. "You're not supposed to see me before the wedding," she protested. "Too late, I'm looking." He crossed to her, pulling out a small box. "I have something for you." Inside was a delicate necklace with a pendant, 2 birds in flight, intertwined. "In Korean culture, birds symbolize eternal love," he said softly, fastening it around her neck. "These are us, flying together, forever." Amanda touched the pendant, her eyes filling. "It's perfect." "You're perfect." He turned her to face him. "And I'm going to spend the rest of my life proving I deserve you." "You already do," she whispered. The ceremony was beautiful, but what Amanda remembered was the way Seong-min looked at her throughout, like she was the only person in the entire world. 6 months after their second wedding, Amanda felt different. Tired, emotional, craving foods she'd never liked before. She chalked it up to stress until she missed her period. The pregnancy test showed positive. She stared at it in their bathroom, a tornado of emotions swirling through her. Joy, terror, excitement, worry. Would Seong-min be happy? They'd talked about children, but talking and reality were different things. She found him in his office, reviewing contracts. He looked up when she entered, his expression immediately softening. "What's wrong?" "Nothing's wrong, Amanda took a deep breath. "I'm pregnant." Seong-min went absolutely still. The papers slipped from his hands. For a terrifying moment, she couldn't read his expression. Then he was moving, crossing the room in 2 strides, lifting her off her feet and spinning her around. "Pregnant," he breathed, setting her down gently, his hands immediately going to her still flat stomach. "You're pregnant. We're having a baby." "You're happy." "Happy," he laughed, the sound bright with wonder. "Amanda, I'm terrified and ecstatic," and he kissed her deep and thorough. "Thank you." "I didn't do it alone," she said wryly. "No," his hand splayed protectively over her stomach. "But you're the one carrying our child. You're the one who's going to give me the greatest gift I could ever receive." Tears spilled down her cheeks. "I love you." "I love you more." He kissed her forehead, her cheeks, her lips. "Both of you." The pregnancy made Seong-min even more protective, something Amanda hadn't thought possible. He insisted she stop working, hired the best doctors in Seoul, had the house baby-proofed 6 months early, accompanied her to every single appointment, holding her hand and looking odd every time they heard the heartbeat. "It's a girl," the doctor announced at their 20-week scan. Seong-min's eyes filled with tears. A daughter. That night, he held Amanda close, his hand resting on her growing belly. "I'm going to give her everything," he murmured. "Safety, love, a world where she never doubts she's wanted." "Like you gave me," Amanda said softly. "I'm still working on that," he kissed her shoulder. "Every day for the rest of my life." Their daughter was born on a spring morning, arriving with a lusty cry that made both parents laugh through their tears. "She's perfect," Amanda whispered, holding the tiny bundle against her chest. Seong-min sat beside them on the hospital bed, one arm around Amanda, one finger clasped in his daughter's tiny fist. "Like her mother," he said, his voice thick with emotion. They named her Mia, a name that worked in both Korean and English, symbolic of their blended world. When Seong-min's family came to visit, his mother cooed over the baby while his father looked at his son with new respect. "You've built something good here," his father said quietly. "A real family." Seong-min looked at Amanda, who was showing Mia to his sisters, her face glowing with happiness. "Yeah," he said, "I have." 2 years later, Amanda stood in their backyard, watching Seong-min chase a squealing Mia through the garden. She was pregnant again, a boy this time. Seong-min had cried for an hour when they'd found out, overwhelmed by the blessing of a second child. "Mama," Mia called, running toward her. "Papa's a monster." Seong-min scooped her up, growling playfully while she shrieked with laughter. His eyes met Amanda's over their daughter's head, and she saw everything in that look, the love, the gratitude, the wonder that this was their life. He'd been right, they'd built something good. Later that evening, after Mia was in bed, Seong-min pulled Amanda onto the couch, his hands gentle on her swollen belly. "Do you remember that family lunch?" he asked suddenly. "When I ignored you and you understood everything they said?" "Unfortunately. I was terrified that day." His fingers traced patterns on her skin. "Terrified of how much I loved you already, how vulnerable it made me. So I did what I always did, I pulled away." "I know," Amanda said softly. "If I could go back." "You can't." She turned to face him. "But you made up for it. Every single day since, you've made up for it." "I'll keep making up for it," he promised. "For the rest of our lives." "Good," she kissed him slow and sweet, "because you're stuck with me now." "Best thing that ever happened to me," he murmured against her lips. Outside, Seoul glittered in the darkness. Inside, Ryu Seong-min held his wife close, and their daughter slept peacefully, and their son grew strong in her womb. He'd been a Mafia boss who'd learned too late the value of what he had. But he'd learned, and he'd never forget again.